reading is from Rays of the One Light, Weekly Commentaries on the Bible and Bhagavad Gita by Swami Kriyananda. Be eternal now. Truth is one and eternal. Realize oneness with it in your deathless self within. The following commentary is based on the teachings of Paramahansa Yogananda. When will I find God? Many devotees have asked this question. Because worldly goals require time, usually for their fulfillment, we imagine time to be a factor on the spiritual path. And so it is, but only because we think it is. God is as much with us now as he ever will be. It is not he who needs to come to us. We need to come to him. And that process of coming is a matter of transforming our self-perception. In the Gospel of St. John chapter 4, Jesus Christ says, "Say not ye, there are yet 4 months, and then cometh harvest. Behold, I say unto you, lift up your eyes and look on the fields, for they are white already to harvest." There is a practical teaching in these words, apart from their statement that we have God already, and have only to realize that truth. Jesus is saying, lift up your eyes and look. To hold the eyes uplifted is the best position for meditation, for the seat of superconsciousness lies at a point midway between the eyebrows. This point, for the seat of in the frontal lobe of the brain, just behind that point. This point is known also as the Christ center. By lifting up your eyes and concentrating there, you will find it easier to enter the state of ecstasy. That is why saints in every religion have often been observed during deep states of inner communion, with their eyes uplifted, focused on the inner white light, as Jesus said, already to harvest. The Bhagavad Gita goes further into this meditative teaching. In the 6th chapter it states, holding the spine firm, the neck and head erect and motionless, let the yogi focus his eyes at the starting place of the nose, the point between the eyebrows. Let not his gaze roam elsewhere. In meditation, tell yourself, I have him already. I am alive forever in the divine light. Thus, through Holy Scripture, God has spoken to mankind.
Father's Day to some of you papas out there. Omkara, I realize why they call you Omkara. That Om comes from meaning.
Of course.
Yeah. We have a number of friends from Portland and Naga Village. And it's great to see everyone here today. So, this friend of ours, Tim Hay, sent something to my husband which he passed on to me, and I can't help but share with you this morning. It's the year 2020, and we have our first female president who's been elected. Not only that, but she's Jewish. Jewish female president elected. This is right up my little Jewish alley. Her name is Phyllis Goldstein. Okay. And so the day after the election, Phyllis calls her mom. And she says, "Mom, you're going to come to the inauguration in January, right?" And her mother says, "Oh, Phyllis, no, I can't possibly. You know your father, he's not what he used to be, and my arthritis just killing me, and it's too long of a trip. And Phyllis says, Mom, I'll send Air Force One to get you. In fact, I'll send a limo to your door, and they'll take you to Air Force One. And the mother says, Phyllis, you know, she says, all those fancy schmancy people that you hang out with and the clothes they wear, I don't have anything for an occasion like that. Phyllis says, Mom, I'll send you the best designer in New York to make you a beautiful gown. Ma, you just gotta come. And the mother says, oh, Phyllis, you know, you all eat all those really rich foods. I can't possibly do that. Phyllis says, Ma, I'm getting the best caterer in New York. We're gonna have kosher food all the way. The mother finally caves in and says, all right, I'll come. So she's sitting there on the morning of the inauguration, and Phyllis is taking the oath to become President of the United States. And the mother sits in the front row and leans over to the senator next to her. And she says, you see that woman over there putting her hand on the Torah, taking the oath? And the senator says, yes, I do see her. And the mother says, her brother is a doctor. I have direct experience of that kind of a Jewish mother who has a favorite son. But the Jewish father has their favorite daughter. And I have direct experience of that too. Anyway, I was delighted that this morning's affirmation was peace of mind, because it took me back to last weekend when Swami's Jyotish and Devi were here and did that beautiful event Friday night at Center for Spiritual Living. And at the end there was the Be the Change meditation with the two of them plus the rabbi and the imam and the reverend representing, you know, some of the major traditions, and offering beautiful guided meditations and chanting and stillness. And at the end, the choir got up and they sang peace. And the lights went down and everyone turned on their little electric photos, and battery-operated photos, I should say. And it was just breathtakingly still and inspired and uplifted. And the next day, the guided meditation, I had a number of people tell me afterwards that was one of the deepest meditations that they've had in a long time. So it was a really, really peaceful weekend. And it points to what this reading today points to, meditation as being key to give us a taste of that experience of the eternal now. I want to just quote a sentence or two from the Bhagavad Gita this morning and from the Bible. The Gita says, holding the spine firm, the neck and head erect and motionless, let the yogi focus his eyes at the starting place of the nose, the point between the eyebrows, and let not his gaze roam elsewhere. It sounds so simple. But all of us who've tried meditation know how difficult that is, because a million thoughts are constantly occupying our brain. Billions of thoughts, really, in different directions. So keeping that gaze here at the point between the eyebrows, if we can live from that center, Yogananda, one of the beauties of his teachings, which we practice here, is that all of his little family of meditation practices, each and every one of them, has us concentrating, gazing at that point between the eyebrows. It's not an accident. Even when there are other things going on in the particular meditation practice, our gaze is always at the point between the eyebrows, and we're practicing that, whether it's energization exercises, whether it's Hong Sa, whether it's the Om technique, whether it's Kriya. It's consistently gazing at the point between the eyebrows. And it's not an accident. It takes great fervor and practice and determination to keep our metaphorical gaze, metaphysical gaze, I'm going to say, uplifted. And at that point of our soul consciousness, you see, the medulla is the seat of the ego, and the spiritual eye is the seat of the soul. And the entire spiritual path is that little pathway of ego to soul. And all of the meditation practices that we do inspire us and magnetize us from above. They don't push from below. They magnetize us from above. When Swami Kriyananda ordained Rima and I to be light bearers many decades ago, there were others also being ordained that day, and it's the first time I ever experienced him doing this, and the last time I ever saw him doing this. But when he blessed us at the spiritual eye and the medulla, and he held the fingers on each, and you could feel the magnet of that ego trying to make its way in unity with the soul to expand into our soul nature. And he offered a prayer for expansion at that point. It's a very powerful technique, and it's in our daily practice. We do it morning and evening so that we can learn to live more from that state, from that uplifted place. I try during the day, during activity. We think we have billions of thoughts floating through our mind during meditation that we're trying to control with our meditation practice and bring into focus of just the thought of God. But in activity, multiply that by, that much more. It's exponentially greater. It's harder in activity to stay in that remembrance. So if you try during activity, try it sometime to relate to people, to relate to the circumstances of your activities from that point between the eyebrows. You'll keep your consciousness more uplifted, and from that point, look to their spiritual eye. They say the eyes are the window of the soul, but your spiritual eye is the window of your soul. You're the only one who can see it in your own soul. But you can gaze at from your spiritual eye to theirs, because that will help them magnetize the energy up to that point. All the higher kriyas, the later practices, they are all designed to bring our consciousness into those higher chakras, and especially into that highest of chakras. And once there, and we experience that unity with our own inner divinity, then it naturally goes up, as Yogananda explains, through the crown chakra and into freedom. But we just have to place our efforts here. But what happens when we go out into activity? We start to just compartmentalize our lives, differentiate, analyze, break it down. As I like to say sometimes, we just beat things to death with our brains, with our thoughts, with our mind. I think last week Jatish referred to that story of Swami Kriyananda being in Australia, staying at the home of a wealthy businessman who was also a devotee. And the man said, "Oh, I can't wait every day when I get home from work and my spiritual life begins in my meditation." And Kriyananda says, "Why waste the day?" Or as the Jewish mother would say, "Why waste the day?" Why not have that spiritual life infused in our activity? Why not relate to people from that point? Why not work on keeping your consciousness at that point? It doesn't matter what we do. If it's construction or a lawyer or a doctor or a mother, or it doesn't matter what we do in our activity during the day. Real estate, if we can just keep that consciousness there, we can spiritualize it. And in time, when we do that more consciously, instead of creating more karma, that's an action and reaction cycle, sowing and reaping, as it says in the Bible. Instead of that, it becomes more like riding on water, because we're doing it with God. And when we're truly in God, no karma is created. We're free in that moment, in those many moments. Christ was free. Yogananda was free. Krishna was free. They didn't create karma. We gained the benefits of their good karma. They shared it with us all. In the autobiography, Yogananda talks about the great woman saint Anandamoy Ma. When he went to visit her, he asked her to say a few words about her life, and she said, "Father, about my life." She said, "When I was born, I was just the same. And when I was a little girl, I was just the same. And when I was a young woman, I was just the same. And when I was an adult, I was just the same. And when I become old, I will be just the same." We are just the same. We're spirit. We're spirit underlying all of that, all of the activities, all of the thoughts, all of everything in our life. It's just an outer expression. The inner reality is just spirit. Yogananda, I think it was Kriyananda who used the example of the board with the nail in it, and we try to pull out the nail. We don't know how much of the nail is left in there. That board is like our world, our outer lives. And that nail is our spirit. And it's stuck in that board. And we're trying to pull it out. And it could come out with the next pull, or it could take a little while. But if we keep pulling, it will come out. And Yogananda said that just for the fact that we want to know God, we want to know our true higher selves, the divine that's within us and all around us. Just for that fact, we are very, very, very close. We have very, very, very good karma. He said, don't try to fool ourselves. So often people, oh, you know, it's going to take me 1,000,000 lifetimes to get free from this ego. Just the fact that you're even wanting and thinking about it is a huge indicator that we're very, very close. I've shared with some of you that when I do my stationary bike exercises in the morning, I like to watch, you know, documentaries or old classic movies. And one time a few years ago, I was watching The African Queen, you know, that classic with Humphrey Bogart and Katharine Hepburn. And they didn't like each other in the beginning, but then they ended up falling in love, and they're going down this river in Africa in this clunky old boat. And as they're going along, trying to get out and sort of go off and have a life together, the boat gets stuck in the reeds and in the mire, and the water has gone, you know, way down, and they're in the mud, and he actually has to get out and start pulling the boat. And they work just feverishly trying to keep that boat moving forward. They're going to run out of water and provisions, and finally at the end of, in the middle of the night, they're just exhausted, and they both fell asleep in the boat. And in the early morning hours, you know, just sort of giving up, the early morning hours, the camera pans back, and you see that their boat just has a little tiny sliver of reeds between itself and a huge lake. That's how close we are, you know. But then, what happens? That's where divine grace comes in. Somehow the tide comes back in, the water comes back in, the boat gets lifted. They're still sleeping, and it gets sort of pulled away from the reeds and then out into the lake. When we put out that effort, God helps us in the most fascinating ways. It becomes really fun to observe it after a while, because you begin to see that divine hand in everything that you do. All we have to do is put out that effort to be in that oneness state. Even if we capture it just for seconds at a time, they begin to fuse together, and our effort gets boosted and uplifted somehow, so that we can go deeper into that state, into that eternal now.
Let's listen to these words from Whispers from Eternity. Infinite Spirit, thy presence is hidden equally behind the warm rays of the sun and the cool light of the moon. Those lights, though welcome and wonderful, reveal only Mother Nature's splendor in matter. They reveal not thee. To me they are therefore darkness. Thy all-revealing, majestic and supreme light shines not on, but from within, the center of everything, therefore creating no shadows. Shadows in this world reduce light itself to non-light. In theory I have known this. Now, Lord, take all darkness away from me. Wherever I sit with eyes shut and closed in my own darkness, cause to blaze upon me in glory the aurora of intuition, that suffused in its light I may gaze raptly on thee with worshipping eyes.